My journey began in the city of Kelethin, in the heart of Greater Fadark, where I had received a message from my High Elven friends Bounty and Sparrow to seek out the help of a Dwarven warrior by the name of Drankendor in the neighboring countryside of the Butcherblock Mountains. As I made my way through the forest of the Greater Fadark, I came upon the Wizard Spires, these mythical, ancient structures that I had only heard rumors and whispers of. I was trepidatious, but I moved through them with ease, although I did feel slightly nervous because of their size and proximity, the tingling of the magic working its way up my spine. Once I was past, I quickly found my way to the cleft in the wall that led to the Butcherblock Mountains, which I had never been to, but I have studied many maps in my time, and I was certain that I would be able to find my way to the city of Kaladim, which is the home of the dwarves of the Butcherblock Mountains. Once I arrived, I was met with a strange sight. Trees I had never seen before, grass that I did not recognize, strange creatures, these bird-like individuals, and these dwarven skeletons and goblins that somewhat are similarly in structure to the orcs that we ourselves face, but were different in size and shape. From here, I was careful to navigate through the wildlife, great beetles and spiders off to either side, but I quickly found the path and made my way down to the crossroads that had been explained to me in the instructions. From here I bore right, waving at the dwarven guards as well as the barbarian who was resting on the road. I can only assume they were an adventurer of some sort. From here was a straight path to the canyon, but for the canyon I had been told to be careful because it was dangerous due to the goblins. And sure enough, I saw the corpses of those less fortunate along the way, which led me to be careful as I navigated my way through the clefts in the hills, until finally, ahead of me, I was met with the greeting sight of the dwarven structures that were the outlying buildings of the dwarves and their kingdom, which filled me with great hope, and my heart leapt with joy when finally the walls of the great city of Kaladim sprung to the sight in the distance as I made my way through the trees. But there was one thing missing, one thing I had been told would take my breath away, and as I rounded the last bend in the road and made my way over the last hill, there it was in front of me, the mighty dwarven statue that is set atop this entrance to Kaladim, and I knew I had safely arrived. Now from here, I sought out the dwarf, Drankendor, and I explained to him the expedition that myself, Sparrow, Bounty, Kel, and Vindini had put together, and how we had been seeking a mighty Dwarven warrior to join our ranks to defeat the orcs of Clan Crushbone. He agreed, after a little bit of convincing on my part, which I have to say, I do a fairly good job of. It's a natural thing. But as we were talking, we were discussing things. We were attacked from nowhere by one of the goblin whelps, and it was here that Drankendor explained to me that the Butcherblock Mountains had been suffering a similar fate to that of the Greater Fadark. Whereas we had been dealing with the threat of the orcs, they had been dealing with the threat of the goblins. And I promised Drankendor that once we had dealt with the orc threat that had been waylaying our community in the Greater Fadark, we would return to the Butcherblock Mountains and help the dwarves defeat the goblins. But wait! As we were talking about it, one of those crag creatures attacked us. We attempted to defend ourselves. A mighty battle ensued, but the creature proved too great. We were forced to flee, but it was here that Drankendor showed off his mighty agility, with a duck and tumble that filled my heart with joy that this indeed was a mighty dwarven warrior, whose prowess in battle was more than enough to help us defend our lands from the grips of the orcs. As we finished discussing things amongst ourselves and the guards, I finally bid Drankendor farewell and made my way back to Greater Fadark so that I could report to our friends that he would indeed be joining us in a fortnight on May 6th, 2022.